2021, the entire salary bandings just went off the scale, essentially. Led by the US firms, newly qualified lawyers started earning over 200,000 US dollars a year. Plus, in Hong Kong, they get a often cost of living allowance, which can be anywhere between 50 and 80,000. Plus a bonus of, again, a similar kind of number to that. So the packages became huge, really, for junior lawyers at the US firms. That in turn meant that the Magic Circle firms had to catch up, and then in turn some of the international mid-tier firms had to follow suit as well. Of course, the Magic Circle is still miles off, but most of them went up at least 25% in 2021. Some of them are actually paying some of their teams US rates in order to compete, because they were losing people regularly to go out the door to the US firms. So 2022, that kind of stayed the same. Now what's happening this year is a lot of firms are not paying bonuses because 2022 was such a bad year for a lot of them. So we're hearing examples of, say, lawyers in US firms who were doing 2,500 hours this year, been doing kind of 1,500, 1,600, or for the last year doing 1,500, 1,600. And so they're not getting bonuses. Some of the lawyers that are billing still over 2,000 aren't getting an extra bonus compared to those who are billing subs. So the bonuses have really been hit hard, which is causing a few lawyers to look around in the market, because some firms have still paid at the level they usually would. But for the most part, bonuses have been hit pretty hard, and some people have not got bonus at all. Some law firms, some US law firms, haven't paid bonuses at all. So that's been a development there. In the UK firms, bonuses don't look like they're going to be as high, but tend to remain a little more constant because they don't tend to be at the same level as the US firms. For the banks, most people were getting flat bonuses or down. However, there have been a few banks where they've had significant problems, where you are hearing of lawyers either not getting a bonus or getting maybe half a month or a month at most, whereas usually they would get at least between 2 and 4 months. Top performers in most of the banks, however, are still getting similar bonuses to usual, which at the top end for sort of a mid-senior lawyer is probably around 5 months. Obviously, once people get into management positions, that gets above the 6-month mark. But some of the senior people have been hit with cuts on bonuses as well. So for the most part, it's been flat or down for the banks. And in terms of pay rises, pretty much across the board, other than some of the banks that aren't making pay rises at all, it's just been linked with inflation. It's just been 3-4% or so. It's not been a genuinely significant increase for anyone. So, it's not been bad. It's certainly, if you look at where the lawyers are paid, they've not been hit as hard as the front office has in some of these banks. And some of these banks have released significant cuts for the front office. Lawyers don't tend to be hit as hard. Generally, lawyers in banks will not. When it's the good times, they don't tend to get huge bonuses to reflect that. When it's the bad times, they don't tend to take huge cuts to reflect that either. They try to keep them at a reasonably steady level. And look, I think people are now. We are seeing people looking. We are seeing people looking at in the market for this reason. However, the grass is not always greener. There are some firms that will still be paying good bonuses, and people know who they are, and I think we're getting interest in terms of them. There are some firms that are paying almost none, as mentioned, and I think they're probably going to handle quite a number of resignations. So a bit of a mixed bag, but in general, it's not too exciting, but not devastating across the street.